A single bell tolls. The air quivers with cold mist. Narration. You awaken to the echo of iron on stone. The sun has not yet risen, yet the fortress stirs like a wounded animal. You are inside a medieval siege, and though the walls stand tall, you can already feel them closing in. You thought war was fought in open fields, with banners fluttering and heroes shining in armor. But here, inside these walls, there are no heroes. Only survivors counting their heartbeats. The gate shuts. Chains grind. Beyond the ramparts, the enemy prepares. Catapults creak, war horns moan across the valley. The siege has begun. You will not see freedom again, perhaps not even daylight. The first hours are always the loudest. Stones crashing, arrows whining, commanders barking orders. Yet within that chaos hides something worse: silence. The dreadful silence between impacts when everyone listens for the next death. You taste iron in your mouth, not blood, just fear turned metallic. Sweat freezes on your neck. Every man beside you stares at the same patch of sky, waiting for it to fall. When night falls, the true siege begins. Hunger, thirst, sickness, the unseen army that never retreats. You lie on cold stone listening to the rats celebrating their victory before yours has even begun. Your first meal comes with the taste of rot. Bread gone hard, water thick with dust. Already supplies are rationed. The quartermaster smiles thinly and whispers, "Make it last." You will not. The mind begins to turn inward. You hear whispers, maybe prayers, maybe madness. The fortress is shrinking, every corridor tighter, every breath heavier. You start to understand. The walls are not protection. They are your coffin. Dawn again, if dawn can still be called light. Smoke clings to the towers. The ground beneath your boots trembles with each strike from the enemy engines. The air itself tastes of despair. Hours pass, you stop counting. A wounded comrade coughs beside you, crimson flecking his lips. There is no physician now, only a priest with trembling hands and a broken crucifix. By noon, thirst becomes a torment. The well is poisoned by enemy corpses. You drink rainwater collected in helmets. You swallow mud and call it mercy. Hunger is a more patient killer. It waits, smiling, as you barter scraps of leather for bites of grain. In the stables, horses vanish first, then dogs, then something unnamed. Your world shrinks to the rhythm of chewing, the sound of gnawing teeth in the dark. Someone prays, another curses God for not answering. The choir of the damned grows louder each night. Outside, the enemy plays its cruel symphony. Drums to keep you awake, horns to remind you they are patient. They know the fortress will not fall by force. It will starve from the inside. Inside, plague blooms. One by one, the sick are dragged to the crypts below. You smell them long before you see them. A fortress built to defend becomes a tomb that feeds on itself. Your thoughts fracture. Time loses meaning. You dream of open fields, of rain untainted, of bread warm from an unseen oven. Then you wake to cold stone and realize even dreams have abandoned you. At dusk, a rumor spreads, reinforcements coming by river. You rush to the tower, eyes straining at the horizon. Nothing. Only fog and carrion birds. Hope dies without sound. Night again, you count heartbeats instead of hours. Somewhere in the courtyard, a mother sings to a child who no longer breathes. Her lullaby turns to wailing. 20 hours since the gates closed. The fortress groans under its own weight. Cracks vein the walls like aging flesh. You can hear the mortar sigh. At dawn, the assault resumes. Stones crash, towers shudder. Screams echo like prayers turned inside out. But you no longer flinch. You are beyond fear now, somewhere colder. Your commander orders one last stand at the inner gate. You obey without thought. Your arms feel carved from lead. You swing, parry, stumble. Every blow lands slower than the last. You look into the enemy's eyes and realize he is just as starved, just as hollow. Sieges consume both sides, but only one will rot inside stone. The wall collapses. Dust swallows daylight. You are buried in the breath of centuries. Stone, ash, screams. For a heartbeat, there is nothing. Then, silence. When the dust clears, the fortress still stands, but empty. Victory here means surviving another hour, nothing more. The living envy the dead because the dead no longer wait. You have lasted 24 hours, but the you that entered this siege is gone. Your skin carries the stench of fear, your eyes the shadow of walls that will never crumble inside your mind. This is why no one truly survives a siege. Not the starving, not the conquerors. The stone remembers every cry, every drop of blood soaked into its cracks. And when the world forgets, the walls still whisper. In the end, it is not the sword that kills, but the waiting. Not the arrow, but the silence between. The gates are open now, but not to freedom. Smoke curls from the ruins, the air heavy with the scent of burnt wood and flesh. You step into silence so thick it feels alive. The conquerors walk among corpses, not with triumph, but with hollow eyes. They came for glory and found only ghosts. The ground beneath them has turned to ash and memory. In the chapel, candles still burn, melted into pools of wax. A child's doll lies beside a broken sword. Faith and fury, side by side, forgotten offerings to a war without purpose. You begin to realize no one wins a siege. The living are condemned to remember, the dead are spared the remembering. That is the only mercy war ever offers. The walls, once symbols of strength, now crumble like the pride that built them. And beneath every stone lies the truth no historian dares to write. Civilization feeds on its own bones. Years pass, grass grows through the cracks, birds nest in what were once towers of defiance. Travelers cross the ruins, whispering tales they do not believe, but the walls remember. At night, they breathe in echoes, footsteps, whispers, the faint clang of chains. The siege never ended. It only changed its prisoners. Some say the souls of the starving still wander the corridors, searching for water that never comes. Others claim the stone itself weeps when it rains. You stand where they once stood, free, fed, safe, and yet, for a moment, you understand them. Hunger, fear, silence. These are not ancient relics. They live in every human heart, because the siege was never about walls or armies. It was about endurance. How long can a soul withstand despair before it breaks? And so, the next time you walk past ruins, listen carefully. Not for the wind, not for the birds, but for the silence that once screamed louder than war. Centuries pass, but the art of the siege survives. The walls are taller now, made not of stone, but of screens, glass, and fear. We build fortresses around our comfort, and starve behind them just the same. The same hunger that haunted the besieged now hides behind new faces. Hunger for power, for wealth, for meaning. The battlefield has changed, but the siege never ended. Look closely at the world, and you'll see the pattern. Empires still circling the same drain of arrogance. The tools evolve, but the cost remains carved into our bones. Every civilization believes its walls will hold. Every generation forgets the screams behind the stone. And every time, history opens the gates once more. If the past teaches anything, it's this. The siege was never about who broke first. It was about who remembered after. Because history isn't gone. It's patient. It waits behind every wall we build, whispering, waiting, reminding us. History still whispers, if we dare to listen.